Ex-FBI profiler reveals disturbing insight into Kirk shooter. As the country reels from the targeted killing of Charlie Kirk during his event at Utah Valley University, behavioral experts are now sketching a portrait of the alleged assailant that both shocks and troubles observers, according to retired FBI supervisory special agent and profiler James Clementi. The person who opened fire was likely not a polished or long-time killer, but someone who has harbored deep frustration, rage, and self-loathing, and decided at some point to channel those feelings into an act of public violence. Clementi says this individual likely lacked strong interpersonal skills, was socially isolated, and had problems managing emotional turmoil. Frustration likely built up over time until it became intolerable, leading the suspect to see one way out, making a dramatic statement. Mirrors of previous politically motivated attacks are found here. The suspect appears to have planned the act in some detail, scouting a rooftop vantage point, acquiring a high-powered bolt-action rifle, perhaps choosing clothing to blend in, and picking the exact moment with many people present to maximize visibility. But what differentiates this case, Clementi argues, is that the plan appears only partially thought through, especially the after portion. Investigators found evidence that the shooter discarded the weapon wrapped in towel, fled by dropping off the roof, and left evidence like palm and forearm smudges, footwear impressions, and possibly DNA, which a more seasoned perpetrator might have taken greater pains to hide. Meanwhile, law enforcement sources confirm that video and eyewitnesses placed the suspect entering the Losi Center building before the event, ascending to its roof, firing a single shot from what is believed to be a Mauser .30-06 bolt-action rifle, then escaping via a route that led into a wooded area off campus. Bullet casings recovered at the scene bore odd inscriptions, some fired, some unfired, featuring a mix of online culture references, memes, and phrases like, "Hey fascist, catch," and "If you read this, you are Galameo," among others. Investigators are careful not to overinterpret these messages, but they suggest possible ideological dissatisfaction, a desire to provoke, and perhaps an unstable identity, though motive remains officially unconfirmed. Also notable is that the suspect reportedly blended in with the crowd, wearing regular clothing upon arrival, possibly changing clothes on the roof, wearing a hat, sunglasses, measures intended to both conceal identity and avoid drawing attention until the moment of the act. On the suspect's background, media reporting and official statements indicate a mixed picture. The accused, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, attended Dixie Technical College, resided in St. George, Utah. He had no prior violent criminal record, had some academic engagement, and family members say he became more politically active in recent years. Some associates describe him as radicalized on obscure online forums and gaming spaces. His romantic partner, who is transgender, has been cooperating with authorities in the inquiry, but there is no confirmed definitive motive yet. Utah Governor Spencer Cox stated that while the motive is not yet established, he believes Robinson held left-leaning political views and disliked Kirk, and that anti-fascist or ideological messages on the casings could point to ideological motivations. Still, investigators emphasize they have not attributed the motive to any single factor. Clementi warns that what makes this case especially disturbing isn't only that it was political violence, but the psychological profile of someone who is driven to it by unresolved internal conflict, anger, and a need to be heard. Such individuals often leak clues through comments of friends, online posts, changes in behavior, before acting because they are wrestling with an inner identity crisis and often fail to see other ways out. According to his analysis, such people are not only planning an external statement, but seeking to correct their self-image, even as they destroy themselves in the process. The profiler suggests that the suspect likely had little plan beyond the act itself. No established escape route in full, no plan for after the crime, uncertainty about what to expect once the eyes of the nation turn. Forensic and video evidence seem to support this. The shotgun, the rifle, the shoes, Converse tennis shoes with distinctive white pattern, the physical traces left on the roof and in the wooded escape route, and the rapid but not completely clean exit, all are consistent with a person acting under emotional pressure rather than cold, professional calculation. Law enforcement has stepped up efforts. The FBI, local police, campus security, and state safety departments are gathering and sifting through hundreds of videos from attendees, security cameras, and public cameras around the route the suspect likely took. Authorities have released photos of a person of interest, describing him as appearing college age, dressed in dark clothing, wearing sunglasses and a cap, carrying a long gun, blending in with the campus environment. Tips from the public number in the thousands. Officials have recovered the alleged weapon, the rifle, in a wooded area after the shooter fled, wrapped in a towel. Evidence such as footprints, palm prints, and forearm smudges are being processed for DNA. All these facts firm up the profiler conclusion. This was a targeted political assassination, but carried out by someone who saw themselves more as an avenger of a grievance than a strategist, someone reacting to rage more than rational political calculation. In the wider context, experts fear this case will become emblematic of a growing pattern in U.S. life. The rise of political rhetoric so divisive that it can tip unstable people over the edge, the way online forums and meme culture can warp ideology or amplify grievance, and how public figures become lightning rods for anger even when they themselves may not intend to provoke. Clementi and other analysts say that sharpening threat assessment is urgent. Noticing emotional isolation, escalating anger, online posts with violent fantasy or symbolic references, abrupt behavioral changes, odd jokes, or confessions. These are potential warning signs that friends, family, employers, or campus officials should not ignore. Finally, the profiler insists that while catching the shooter is vital for justice, preventing the next one depends on understanding the human side of the crime, recognizing that many perpetrators are not supervillains but people under pressure, pushed by belief, hurt by identity, and desperate for validation. As the investigation continues, court appearances, evidence gathering, motive clarification. This case leaves behind not only grief, but a stark reminder of how volatile the intersection of politics, identity, and grievance has become in America, and how much more work must go into early detection, community awareness, and keeping political discourse from becoming a pretext for violence.